Hello there, Professor Varsi. I have been going over some basic rules of English, especially in terms of writing. So, in academic writing, you will be asked to write several essays, some short, some long, and it will be important for you to write grammatically correct sentences. So, today we will learn the difference between dependent and independent clauses. I'll give you some types of clauses, lots of examples for you to understand, and then the applications, which will require you to write sentences using both dependent and independent clauses, and sometimes a combination of both. But for now, know that before Maria goes to bed is an incomplete thought. If you wrote a sentence like that, before Maria goes to bed, the reader will be confused because the idea is not complete. The reader is likely to ask, what does she do before she goes to bed? It's an incomplete thought. Now compare that with Maria graduated from Queen's College. Now that's a complete idea. The reader knows that Maria is somebody, a person who went to Queen's College and got her degree, graduated from it. So that's an independent clause. So the difference between dependent and independent clauses is that one is incomplete, dependent is an incomplete thought, and an independent clause is a complete thought. The idea is complete. Okay. So, our objectives today is to understand what a clause is. And I should say that at the very outset that a clause may not necessarily be a sentence always. Identify the two main types of clauses, dependent and independent, differentiate between them, and learn to use clauses effectively in writing. Okay, so what is a clause? If you took the previous lesson on sentence types, I explained what a sentence is. A sentence is a complete thought, a complete idea, using a combination of words. A clause is a group of words that have at least a subject and a predicate. In other words, a clause has to have at least a subject and a verb, and another term for a predicate, which includes more than a verb. So let's look at some examples. Okay? She runs. There are only two words, but that's still a clause and a complete thought. She, like this lady, runs. She jogs every day. But what is not a clause is running fast. That's an ungrammatical sentence because who is running fast? The subject is missing. So, again, a clause is a group of words that contain at least a subject and a predicate. All right? Okay. So, we have sort of scratched the surface. We have learned that there are two types of clauses, independent and dependent. Okay? So, an independent, as I just explained to you, is a complete thought. I enjoy reading. Right? I go to QCC at Queen's College. I go to a university in Agra, for example. And it's a complete thought. You could say, I am a college student. It's a complete thought. It's an independent clause. Whereas a dependent clause is an incomplete idea because I enjoy reading. What do? Because I enjoy reading, I borrow books from the library and then I read them. That is a complete thought, but just because I enjoy reading is incomplete. So it's a dependent clause. All right? An independent clause, as we just learned, is a sentence that can stand alone all by itself. It does not need to depend on something else because it's independent. But think about a country that is free. It's a free country. It does not depend on another country to make its policies or its decisions. One example of an independent clause is the sun is shining, right? Or the sun is rising. You could also say the moon is shining. So can you identify the independent clause in the two sentences below? She sings beautifully while it was raining. Which one of these two do you think is an independent clause? Try it. Okay. Now remember, you may be wondering, why isn't Professor Warsi giving me answers? Well, in the basic lessons that you took, if you have taken the basic lessons, I gave you lots of answers, right? But good teaching is about getting students to think, practice, and learn by themselves, for themselves. So continuing on, moving forward, all of the lessons, they're going to be a little bit advanced, and my goal is to get you to think. Think in English and practice writing sentences. So, dependent clauses. As we just learned, an independent clause is a standalone sentence, right? It can stand by itself without needing any assistance from another sentence or a clause. But dependent clauses, in contrast, are incomplete. So, when the sun rises, what happens when the sun rises? The idea is not clear. It confuses the reader when a person writes that way. When the sun rises, period. It's an ungrammatical sentence. So do this exercise by completing these two sentences. Which one is complete and which one is an incomplete sentence, you think? Although he was tired and the team won the match. Well, let me give you a little bit of hint. One of them is an incomplete sentence and the other one is a complete sentence. So you have two goals. First, identify the dependent clause, then write a complete sentence. Okay, I won't tell you which one is which. You need to practice. So grab a piece of paper and pen or your laptop or tablet and write a complete sentence after you identify that it's incomplete. Okay? There are different types of dependent clauses, right? An adjective dependent clauses, the book that I borrowed, okay, and that is a dependent clause. It's a complete sentence, but the dependent clause embedded in the sentence is the book that I borrowed, okay? So that's an adjective clause. Adverb clause, obviously, it modifies a verb. Now I've taught you parts of speech lessons, all 8 parts of a speech. In this case, an adverb is a word that modifies a verb. So example, she ran fast because she was late. There you go. There is an adverb clause there. A noun clause, it acts as a noun. Like what she said was surprising. This person said something, made a statement that surprised everybody. People were not expecting that sentence. So that is a noun clause. So there are adjective clauses, adverb clauses, and noun clauses. There are 3 different types of clauses. Okay. So again, do another exercise to make sure that you're learning and you're learning well. Complete this activity. Identify the type of clauses in the sentences below. You just learned that there are 3 types of clauses. You may need to go back and review the 3 types of identifying clauses. Which one is which? Identify. Okay? There are 3. Which one is which? Noun, adverb, or adjective clauses. Okay. There is an entire lesson on coordinating conjunctions. Okay? Fanboys, they're called for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. So there are 2 clauses that are combined by using a coordinating conjunction. I was hungry, comma, so. So there is a coordinating conjunction. I ate a sandwich. I was hungry, so I ate a sandwich. Okay? Now, subordinating conjunctions. These are words such as because, although, when, okay, etc. So an example of a subordinating conjunction is although it was raining. Now remember that is a dependent clause because it's incomplete. It needs something else to complete meaning. Although it was raining, comma, we went hiking. Now we went hiking is a complete thought. That is an independent clause. All right? Although it was raining, we went hiking. So practice, my advice to you is that you learn, as you learn these rules, that you practice writing sentences, following them. All right? So write 2 clauses and combine them with a coordinating conjunction. You could use one of these fanboys. I've given you one example of so. I was hungry, so I ate a sandwich. I need you to write sentences using for, and, nor, but, or, yet. If you're not sure, I need you to study the lesson on coordinating conjunction, which we have given you elaborate explanations and lots of examples and exercises for you to complete. If you do that lesson, then this should be very easy for you to do. Okay? All right. Now, what are some of the errors? Also, I recommend studying local and global errors in English. So, local errors are errors that do not impede understanding. The reader still gets the intended meaning that the writer wanted to convey. A sentence fragment. When I arrived. Okay, when I arrived, then what happened after you arrived? And I arrived, he was there. That's a run-on sentence. I asked you to fix it. Can you fix the two errors here? Add or connect clauses correctly. So complete the sentence. When I arrived, comma, complete the sentence. Practice is good for you. And connect the two clauses. I arrived, he was there. What would you do? How would you put a period? Would you put a comma? Would you use a coordinate in conjunction? So practice. And if you find this difficult, to do it by yourself, be sure to ask questions. I'm here to help. As soon as you ask a question, then I will get back to you. If I'm free, if I'm available, I'll reply to you immediately. All right. Okay, now do this practice quiz. Identify the independent clause in question 1. Okay, and then identify the type of clause in question 2. So taking this quiz will refresh your memory, and you will say, I just learned this and I got the answers correct. Okay, now write 2 sentences. I need you to write 2 sentences, one using an independent clause, a complete thought. I'm not giving you any examples. I'm not giving you any answers. I need you to practice, okay, by yourself. So write a complete thought, a complete idea. And then write another one using a dependent clause and an independent clause, so a combination of 2 clauses. I believe in you. I'm confident that you can do this by practicing. Okay, so some advanced usage. There's another lesson on sentence types. A complex sentence. So there's simple, there's complex, there's compound, complex. All right. So a complex sentence, it uses both dependent and independent clauses. Like while she studied, comma, he prepared dinner. Practice writing a sentence using the 2 different clauses, independent and dependent. Another advanced usage is writing a compound complex sentence. So a compound complex sentence is a combination of independent and dependent clauses. It may have 2 independent clauses and 1 dependent clause. So while she studied, comma, that's a dependent clause. While she studied, well, what did she do when she was studying? He prepared dinner and the kids watched TV. So notice that there are multiple clauses here. There's 1 dependent clause and 2 independent clauses. Correct? Well, so far so good. We are at the end of the lesson, and now I'm just going to summarize the lesson. What did we learn today? Some of the key points of the lesson are that clauses contain a subject and a predicate, which has a verb and an object, and that is what makes a clause. So a clause may be an incomplete thought, as in a dependent clause, or it may be an independent clause, which means that the meaning is complete. Independent clauses can stand by themselves without another sentence or a clause, but dependent clauses cannot. They cannot stand alone because they are incomplete. So they need an independent clause. Okay? When you write 2 independent clauses, make sure that you combine them by using conjunctions. Then the idea will be very clear to the reader. Okay? So work hard. I'm going to give you more and more information, but I will not give you the answers. Maybe once in a while I'll give you some answers to help you, but you need to learn by yourself. So work hard, keep practicing, Keep taking these lessons. I have more coming up. I wish you good luck and work hard, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.